Alien Enemy Validation Guide. This is the document that was used by the government to deport people to an El Salvadorian prison labor camp without due process. Now, this has been stopped currently by the courts, but I want to take a look at this form. And it's very important while we do that you remember no due process. This did not go in front of a judge where the case was pled. Someone filled out this form, and then what they put on this form was treated as truth. And there's going to be an example really quickly I want to show you about how bad that is. The person named above is 14 years or older. The person named above is not a citizen or lawful permanent resident of the United States. The person named above is a citizen of Venezuela. So let's say you check all of these. True or not, you check all of these. You then move on down to here. Now, to become a member of TDA, you need to score 8 points or higher, or 6 or 7 points, and then maybe they'll still add you, and at 5, you're still getting deported. Now, when we scroll down, well, what's the point system? And you can see it's not that big. This is only a 3-page document. But we're going to take a stop real quick at right here, Symbolism A. Subject has tattoos denoting membership/loyalty to TDA, which while I want to talk about all of these, I think we need to stop off on this one real quick, because what counts as a tattoo denoting membership/loyalty to TDA? This counted. This autism awareness ribbon tattoo for his brother counted. 4 points. 4 points! Because of this tattoo. And then, it doesn't take much to get 8. So, let's say social media post by the subject displaying symbols of TDA. Oh, well, if this person filling out this form believes that autism is a sign of being in the gang, I guess, there you go, there's 2 more points. You've just hit 6, and now you could possibly be deported under this, which means you don't get due process. But then there's more. You could have something like hand signs. What does that mean? Doesn't matter. Whoever fills out this form gets to make that decision. There's your next 2 points. Now you're at 8. Or you could have 4 here. Let's say him and his brother have some drawings and they've drawn like the autism awareness stuff, or he's made signs for an event or something. That alone, because autism awareness, remember, counted as a tattoo denoting membership, that would be another 4, and then you have 8 just from those 2. You see why this might be a problem. This is why due process is so important. Now let's take a look and see what all the point possibilities are, because maybe they're not all that bad, and not all of them are. Subject has been convicted of violating Title 18, U.S. Code Section 521, or any other federal state law criminalizing imposing criminal civilities related to TDA. So, right here, 10 points. That's enough. Way overhead, you're gone. Court records, identifying the subject as a member of TDA. So this would be actual due process, gets you 5. Subject self-identifies as a member of TDA verbally or in writing to law enforcement officers, even if that self-identification to a law enforcement officer is unwitting through law enforcement inception of communication. So, the problem with this, real quick, is if you're going without due process, these people have described it, it's in this document, there's people talking about it, where they were just whisked away and yelled at and whatever. What were they put through to possibly elicit this confession? There's a reason we have rules against torture and the way you can treat people and interrogate people. Those don't have to be followed in this case. They aren't being followed, so 10 points. That would be enough. Subject participates in criminal activity with other members of TDA, including preparatory meetings, significant incidents directly attribute to TDA. Again, you're going off of this person here that's filling out the form. So anytime you see other members of TDA, that's really important, because that could mean it's just this guy with a autism tattoo, right? An autism awareness tattoo. That might be all it takes, right? So remember that. And then if someone else does a criminal activity, well, that guy was there, therefore all of you. Law enforcement or intelligence reporting identify the subject as a member of TDA to include Bureau of Prison validations and reliable foreign partner information. This one sounds like it might have a little more due process to it. Credible testimony statements from victims, community members, or informants that affirm the subject's membership in or allegiance to TDA. Now, here's another issue. Let's say someone's just a racist and doesn't like some people. Are they going to be trusted? Because if they are trusted, that's 3 whole points. That sounds like a problem to me. Detailed open source media, newspaper, investigative journalism reports that describe arrest, prosecution, or operations of a subject as a member of TDA. Weird that there would be, they're using open source instead of like going to the actual court records. Subject conducts or facilitates business with TDA, money laundering, mule service provider. Here is where things get interesting. Does this include... It has examples, but if you work, let's say you worked with someone with this tattoo, or they were your employee, or they were your boss, would that now list you as working with them? They use, obviously, like criminal stuff, but maybe not. Written or electronic communications, emails, letters, texts, secure messages to discuss business with / or are communicating with known members of TDA. Cell phone data contains multiple group, organizational leaders, members, information. So, here's a problem. If you make it really easy to designate someone as a member of TDA, again, I'm going to keep harping on it. Autism tattoo, halfway there, right? Technically more than halfway if they got him with 6 points. That means that if you messaged him, if you're a coworker born in America, you're still communicating with a known member. 6 points. That is enough to have you put in a prison camp, possibly, without any due process. Because you only need 6 to possibly do it. 8's a guaranteed, right? If you meet the original 3 criteria. So anyone he knows who gets picked up is now immediately given 6 points, essentially, if they communicated in any way. Subject conducts phone calls about business of TDA with no members of TDA. That probably would have some sort of proof to it. That's 10 points. Financial transactions indicating criminal activity for TDA or with known members of TDA. All right. Let me give you a scenario, a theoretical scenario. Because remember, it's not just indicating criminal activity for TDA, it's with or a financial transaction with a known member of TDA. So let's say that guy with the autism tattoo, you and him hang out and go to the movies, and they have like a 2 for 1 deal, or you're going to go and play golf, whatever, somewhere where someone pays and then the other person's going to pay the other back. By you paying them back, you have now done a financial transaction. Now, if the way you pay them back includes a notes where you can send them a message, technically you also did A, so now you're at 9 points and you're deported. You're not just deported, you're deported without due process, and you're deported to an El Salvadorian labor camp, where there are videos that have been shown of them like shaving people's heads and stuff. Now, we've got people brought into this like a random gay barber that people like, most of them have tattoos. So it's the tattoo thing that's really getting them a lot of points. Almost like people are trying to do whatever they can to find people to deport, which seems to be a common trend. Let's continue. Subject possesses written rules, constitution, membership certificates, bylaws indicating together with other conduct, membership, or allegiance to TDA. See, this is where things get interesting, because this could be like, okay, we have a list of verified things that we're checking for. Or is this going to be like, if someone had a document listing rules for an autism event and that has that logo at the top, is that 6 points? Because again, I'm going to harp on this. They used that tattoo. And then we have the tattoos option, social media post option, again here, depicting activity of other known members of TDA. And again, this isn't displaying symbols or depicting activity. So let's say you had someone who is the friend of that kid that has autism, right? And maybe that friend has messaged the brother, the older brother with the tattoo, sent him a message, and showed up at the kid's birthday party and posted it on Facebook. Well, there you go. There's your 8 points. You're now deported as long as you are 14. Subject observed tagging, graffitiing, or mark the territory, and subject allegiance to TDA. Again, it could be kids doing literally anything. Teenagers doing anything. If they were to go in and some kid was sitting in a college class and drawing on a desk, could they just determine whatever they drew on that desk to now be a gang symbol? Well, apparently yes, because they thought the autism symbol was. Subject observed displaying hand signs. Just hope no one uses sign language, because you know these people filling out this form don't know it. Surveillance documentation that a subject is frequently observed closely associating with known leaders and members of TDA. Again, association. We've seen what it takes to get selected, right? Subject part of group photo with 2 or more known members of TDA. How easy is that to do? Probably pretty easy, because once they've arrested one person in your friend group, your neighborhood, they now have an easier way to then find another person, get them a couple more points. Remember, it doesn't take much. If you've sent a text message or an email to someone, you're at 6 points. That's really all it takes. And then if you get designated, then it's 2 points for being in a photo with them. Subject presently resides with no members of TDA. And there's someone in your family, there's 2 points. So let's say, for example, this is really easy. Your brother. Do you live with him? Yeah. You have in group photos with him? With your family? Yeah. Is there surveillance documentation of you close together? Yeah, he's in the family. There's 6 points. That's enough for theoretical deportation. But I'm sure you also texted your brother, and there's 6 more, so you're at 12. Oh, did you ever give him money? Okay, now you're at 15. Yeah, that's a mess. That is not what the government should be using for reform. There's a reason why the due process is important, and people will be excited that, we're removing these people, right? The issue comes in that is if you don't think that Trump is going to stay in power for a 3rd term, which now he's saying again, he's going to be a 3rd term, he's going to find a way to do it, right? If Trump's not staying in power forever, and the other side's eventually in power, we all know, okay? Left and right, we all know whoever ends up in power is going to take all these people here that got deported under this, and they're found to have been deported wrongly. They're going to get millions of dollars. They're probably going to get citizenship. We're probably going to be loosening how easy it is to become a citizen. There's going to be blowback, which I don't think is what people that would support gang members being removed would want. Because my assumption, my belief, is that he's had an issue actually finding people to deport that are criminals. Because remember, he needed to deport criminals. They have now been targeting students who posted on social media that they don't like Trump, that they don't like Palestinian citizens being killed. That's all it takes to have your student visa removed now. So then when you want them removed, people are like, well, they shouldn't have been criminals. You have to remember, that's not why they're being removed. They're being removed so he can boost numbers. And talking of boosting numbers, I gotta mention it. Peter Navarro did an interview and claims now that Trump's tariffs are going to be like 600 billion dollars a year. $6 trillion in 10 years. There are people questioning and running the math right now. Is this the biggest tax hike on Americans in U.S. history? Because remember, a tariff is a tax. So when you look at the economy's not doing great, I mean, everyone agrees with that, I think. I mean, stock market, it's hard to argue. We're going into a recession, maybe a depression. And now we're looking at angering our allies, threatening war with 4 separate countries, I think, in the past week, and $600 billion in additional taxes. Trump's now saying he hopes automakers raise car prices. We'll see. October, I'm tired. April 2nd is supposed to be Liberation Day, as he calls it. They're already in talks to make Liberation Day a federal holiday next year. Again, because all of this stuff is just for Trump to try to put himself in the history books as much as possible. Let's be real. He wants to take over Canada because that would become a thing in history, or Greenland, or the Panama Canal. That's why. And, we'll make a federal holiday just for me, basically, because that's what it would be. It would be a Trump Appreciation Day. Anything else I want to talk about since I haven't made any videos? I've been enjoying my weekend. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, the roast. They're not doing a roast this year because they tried to do it during Trump's first term, and he got upset with them and refused to go, and now he's attacking the media, so now they're afraid to do a roast, so they're just changing it to basically just a dinner where they jerk each other off or something. I don't know. There's a lot I could have covered, more I could have covered with this deportation thing, but I'm gonna be honest, this stuff would fill the feed. It would fill the feed, and I didn't want to do that. I've got other stuff I want to follow. I want to follow the Lori Vallow. I still haven't watched the Lori Vallow Dateline video. I watched the Nate Eaton interview with Lori's son. I watched the Lori Vallow phone call with her son that he put up, but I watched that, not all of it, and I watched it ages ago that I can't even remember any of it. So I've been wanting to rewatch that. Just kind of do that before that case starts. On the 2nd, funny enough, yes, Liberation Day, I have a game update that I'm going to play with a bunch of friends, so there might be less videos that day. Need to get tires for a car. You gotta love that, don't you? They need to change anyway, but one's losing pressure, so I gotta figure out a place to do that. I'm trying to think of anything else I have planned for the channel. But I think I'm just kind of out of things, I think, other than like the Lori Vallow stuff until that starts. And of course, I'm going to check the Sarah Boone stuff daily, check for updates and new transcripts, because they were given a delay until like April 11th. I still have to fill out my taxes, but she was given until like April 11th to do the Sarah Boone transcript filings. So we should be getting some more transcripts there. Not that it's anything new, not that it's anything people haven't seen before, but I might review some of the more interesting aspects as I go through it from those days. So that should be something to look forward to, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I can't think of any other cases right now. There's Grant Amato. Man, he's someone I watched the videos. I think I'm pretty sure everyone that's ever watched true crime stuff has watched his videos, his interrogation. If you haven't watched Grant Amato's interrogation or videos on him, you need to. Long story short, he was paying a cam girl over $200,000, and when he got cut off, he killed his whole family, serving life. And now the wife of a guy who is the star of a ghost hunting show is now dating him and like planning a hit against her husband, and she's facing charges, and I don't know if I want to jump into that can of worms. It's too early for, like, trial, I believe, but, like, that's just a wild story that I saw the name and I recognized it. I'm like, it can't be the guy I think it was, and it was. So that's on the back burner. Finally, I put it over there. Say personal accomplishment. I finally found a new set of Pokemon cards in a store. Not the set from January I kept looking for. Not that set. I found the one that came out in March. And there were 6 packs total in the whole store. And I bought all 6. And I got, like, the 3rd best hit in the set. I'm very excited. So, yeah, beyond that, I've been grinding out on my gaming channel, content there, and doing stuff here. I've done less political videos. I want to say it's not because the views are lower, because it's not, because I don't really care. Those are just because I want to make them. It's just depressing, and I feel like I don't have anything to add, right? I feel like a lot of the stuff I want to talk about it, but beyond, it's very one-dimensional, right? Like, this thing happened is all you really need to know in a lot of instances. But this one here, and I know I'm rambling a lot, but this one here, I feel that there's some nuance here, right? Like there's a system here with points. There's the knowledge of that they were just that they're not doing it right. Like even like this isn't right at all. Let me be clear, but they're not even, like, verifying what they're doing, like an autism tattoo. And this is page 7 of 156 of one of the documents on file. And if you're interested in this, if you type in this number I highlighted here, if you put that in Google, I believe it'll take you right to Court Listener that has all of this. And this is a highly interested case. So people are going to be putting all the stuff from Pacer on Court Listener very quickly, and you're going to be able to catch up very quickly. So if you want more and the arguments for why and all that, that's of course all going to be there. This guide blew me away. 7 pages in. And the thing is, obviously we can't trust them with these numbers. Judging by the people they removed, you can't trust them to fill this out accurately. And if you can't trust them to fill this out accurately, how can we trust them to fill out this part accurately? And that's scary. It's especially scary because you might say, some people will say, that they don't care because these aren't U.S. citizens. Except the administration has made comments and threats about sending people to the El Salvadorian labor camp. Citizens. Why would they do that? Because people are protesting Teslas. And Elon Musk is mad. Because Elon Musk wants to... Elon Musk, you see, he is a guy that wants to cut funding to food and healthcare, and he claims his son is dead because they're transgender. They're alive and happy. He constantly talks about them being dead. He is a vile man. And then people don't like him. And that's also unacceptable. Because he is a free speech absolutist, as he calls himself, but also not when it's against him, because he has the money.